Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today we'll be doing a mock draft preseason for the college football season, heading into the 2025 NFL mock draft season. Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today we're gonna be doing a 2025 NFL mock draft preseason of the college football season. So if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I post next. Let's get into the video. So I decided, instead of me doing my rankings that I released earlier this week of how I would rank how the seasons are going to go, I decided to go off of PFF, what they think 1 through 32 is going to look like in a year. So don't get mad at me if your team is, let's say, number 10 and your team is number 31 and you think they should win the Super Bowl, or going to be the number one overall pick. Don't get mad at me. This is per PFF. As you can see, the Browns are number 17. I disagree. But like I said, it's based off PFF, not my own rankings. So let's get into the video. So with the number one overall pick in the 2025 NFL mock draft, I have the Carolina Panthers selecting James Pierce Jr. So James Pierce Jr. had a great last 2 years at Tennessee. Coming into the season is definitely the number one ranked prospect. The Panthers don't need a quarterback, don't need a wide receiver, don't need offensive lineman. They need help on defense, especially after trading Brian Burns to the New York Giants. I think James Pierce Jr. comes in, is their number one pass rusher right away, and it can really help that defense turn around after, offseason where they lost a lot of pieces. I'd be really intrigued to see a James Pierce Carolina Panthers jersey, because I think he'd fit right in with that culture. When you say James Pierce, it feels like a Panthers name. Next up, number 2 overall, I have the Patriots grabbing Luther Burden III from Missouri. In my opinion, he definitely is the number one ranked wide receiver going into the draft, going into the preseason, of college football. A true dominant X receiver, has the size, the mobility, the catch radius, the speed to do everything in the NFL. I think the Patriots, you got Drake May. Now let's get him a premier target in Luther Burden. Yes, he could use help on defense, but I thought getting a premier number one wide receiver next to Drake May has to be the number one priority. You got a solid amount of number 2, 3, and 4 wide receivers. Get your true bona fide number one game breaker wide receiver. Next up, with the 3rd overall pick, the Denver Broncos select Will Campbell, the tackle from LSU. Will Campbell, definitely the number one offensive lineman in this class. The Denver Broncos at tackle have a lot of glaring holes. Garrett Bowles is to the point in his career where he is near useless. And the interior of the offensive line is ready to compete right now, whether it's Quinn Miners. They brought in, who they bring in? Graham Glasgow, I think. They have an interior of the offensive line that I really like. Your tackles are a big question mark. Grab yourself the number one ranked left tackle in this class to protect Bo Nix for the future. If you're going to invest a first round pick in a quarterback, you got to invest a first round pick in his protection or his weapons. You got wide receivers that I somewhat like at this point. A lot of guys are just aged out of their prime. You got a lot of guys that just need to develop. So I think Will Campbell, grab a solidified left tackle to protect Bo Nix for the future. With the 4th overall pick, I have the Tennessee Titans selecting Shedeur Sanders. That's right. I do think Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in this class. I'm not going to be shocked if this year he has a stellar top 5 Heisman ranking season. Not saying he's going to win the Heisman. I think he'll be in the top 5 of voting, though. I expect like a 40-plus touchdown, 5 or less interception season, 4,000 yards. I love Shedeur Sanders at Colorado. Tennessee, they have a Will Levis, but I think Shedeur Sanders is more of that Joe Burrow type gunslinger than Will Levis is. Not that Will Levis would be bad, but I think Shedeur Sanders is the guy that Callahan is going to want to really build his offense around. Because I think Shedeur, again, like Joe Burrow, has a gunslinger ability, but also can move in the pocket as well, can make plays with his legs. I think Shedeur Sanders is just a better Will Levis. He's way better than Will Levis. Sorry, apologies. He's better than Will Levis, and why not get your bona fide franchise quarterback at number 4 and move on? You know what I mean? Like, keep going and developing this team. At number 5, the New York Giants select Carson Beck at number 5. I think Carson Beck, there's other guys I like as well. Cade Klubnik I like. You're going to see a couple other guys in this mock draft, so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to say too many names. But I think Carson Beck is going to be competing Shedeur Sanders for that number 1 quarterback ranking. And as we know, quarterback is a premier position. Bo Nix and Michael Penix went in this year's first round. Carson Beck is going to go in the first round. More than likely, we'll go at number 5 to the New York Giants if this is how it plays out. This means that Daniel Jones is not the guy. Grab Carson Beck. He can be that gunslinger. You go back to Brian Dable with Josh Allen. Carson Beck, big body, big arm. Not the biggest arm in the world, but still a pretty good arm. I think Carson Beck in New York with Brian Dable, that's exactly what you would want at number 5, because Daniel Jones just doesn't fit his mold. Carson Beck, a pretty accurate quarterback with a big arm, tall. He's going to love Brian Dable. With number 6, the Washington Commanders select Travis Hunter, cornerback from Colorado. I think he will play corner, right? Obviously, he's a dual player right now in college football, but I don't think it's going to happen in the NFL. I think Travis Hunter's a way better corner than wide receiver. And I think he can be a top 6 pick, obviously, at corner. And he'll probably be a first-round pick at wide receiver. But I think be a corner, help the Washington football team truly turn that team around. I think Dan Quinn would love his Trevon Diggs in Travis Hunter, a true ball-hawking corner who can, jump routes and get interceptions and take him to the house. I would love Travis Hunter in Washington. I think that is not only a great pick, but a great culture setter as well for that defensive secondary, especially with guys like Emmanuel Forbes not working out, it looks like. Grab Travis Hunter, a big body, big, muscular, heavy hitter who can jump balls. I would love Travis Hunter in Washington. I think it's a great fit culture-wise as well. Next, at number 7, the Cardinals grab Kelvin Banks Jr., the tackle from Texas. Right now, the Cardinals obviously have Paris Johnson. It's a great pick at left tackle. At right tackle, you have Jonah Williams, who has not worked out in his NFL career so far. Go grab Kelvin Banks. He's probably the second best tackle, third best tackle in this class. I think he has the mobility to move over to right tackle, though. As you can see later in this draft, there's another guy that I do draft at tackle. I think Kelvin Banks can make the switch to right tackle the smoothest. And I think you've had Paris Johnson and Kelvin Banks Jr. holding the offensive line for Kyler Murray. It would be an amazing thing to see. You got your wide receivers, you got your tight ends, your running backs, your quarterback. Let's build out these bookends of the offensive line to keep Kyler Murray upright, to throw to Marvin Harrison Jr., to throw to Michael Wilson, to throw to oh my gosh, their tight end that is really good. I can't think his name of. Let's just get him upright so he can throw the ball, and your defense, you drafted a lot of guys this past year, can just ball out and not have to be on the field 24/7. At number 8, the Minnesota Vikings select Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan. Will Johnson is my number 1 ranked corner outside of Travis Hunter, obviously. Again, Travis Hunter, I think he'll be a corner when it comes to the draft season, but pure corners, I think Will Johnson is the best corner in the nation. Minnesota just traded, I believe it was Andrew Booth Jr., who they drafted the bookend of the first round a few years ago. They traded him for Nashawn Wrights with the Cowboys. Will Johnson, a true dominant number 1 corner, man and zone coverage. He'll be able to lock anyone up. And I think the Vikings could even be higher in the draft order without having JJ McCarthy and having Sam Darnold as a starting quarterback this upcoming season. They might be even higher where they can get a Travis Hunter. But yeah, I'm going to go Will Johnson, Minnesota Vikings, grab Will Johnson from Michigan. I think that is absolutely the pick they need to go with. You need help in the secondary. Grab a dude who can truly be a number 1 potential, Pro Bowl level corner in the NFL. At number 9, the Las Vegas Raiders select Quinn Ewers, quarterback, Texas. So Quinn Ewers, I think he could have a really good year. I'm being serious. I think he might have a really good year. Honestly, no Xavier Worthy or Adonai Mitchell is definitely going to hurt Texas, but they have a lot of speedy wide receivers. That's kind of their mold at wide receivers, speedy guys. I think Quinn Ewers is going to put up a lot of big numbers this year. And the Raiders, they don't got a quarterback for the future. You have Aiden O'Connell, who was a 4th-round draft pick, second-year player. That's it. That's a quarterback. I think Quinn Ewers can come in immediately, start for them. There's rumors they're going to go for a quarterback in this past year's draft. They didn't go for one in free agency. So I think they want to wait for this year, take a quarterback this year, because Antonio Pierce is going to see what he can do with Aiden O'Connell. But I do think Quinn Ewers is going to end up in Las Vegas next year. Again, if the Raiders suck even more, they could maybe land a Shedeur Sanders or a Carson Beck. But I think Quinn Ewers is that second-tier quarterback behind Shedeur and Carson. At number 10, the Seattle Seahawks select Malachi Starks from Georgia. The Seahawks, Mike McDonald is missing that rover safety, and I think Malachi Starks can be that rover safety. Kyle Hamilton, we saw in the NFL, was absolutely dominant with Mike McDonald as his defensive coordinator. And now that he's a head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, I think Malachi Starks can take up that Kyle Hamilton role of being a rover in today's modern defense, because as the league gets more speedy with wide receivers being 4.2, 4.25 speed, you're going to need hard-hitting safeties playing linebacker. I think Malachi Starks can be that Kyle Hamilton, can be that, oh my gosh, safety for the Browns. Can't think of his name. But you already have Devin Witherspoon as well on this team. But I think you move Devin Witherspoon back out the corner, put Malachi Starks in that rover role. I would be very excited to see what Malachi Starks can do. He could be a Pro Bowler year one if Mike McDonald can get his hands on him. At number 11, the New Orleans Saints select Mason Graham, the D tackle from Michigan. Mason Graham, definitely the number one interior defensive lineman. I think the Saints, they got to realize that defensive line is where you win on defense. And the defensive line is a lot of aged veterans and a lot of like third stringers playing and starters, you know? You got Kanoa Pasanoga, butchering his name. I butchered his name. I know who I'm thinking of. I butchered his name though. Kano Pasanogan, I think his name is. But yeah, Mason Graham comes in, starts them immediately. Really good run stopper, has a lot of upside as a pass rusher as well. I think he had 6 sacks last year as an interior defensive lineman and had like a 85 or 90 run grade as a run defender. Mason Graham going to the New Orleans Saints helps change that defensive line culture and really improve that grouping. Because right now it is pretty weak. It's pretty weak. Then at number 12, the Buccaneers select Jonah Savanei from Arizona. Again, butchered his name. I know I did. Tackle from Arizona. This is a tackle I thought could make the move the right tackle. But I thought Kelvin Banks should just make it smoother. So whether Jonah plays left tackle or right tackle, maybe you move Tristan Wirfs back right over the right tackle, but maybe you keep your all-pro left tackle at left tackle. You know, made the smooth transition last year, was all-pro. So maybe Jonah does make the move the right tackle. And I think he'll be really good. I think he's like 6'7", 335. Jonah from Arizona. Seriously, I think he's going to be a top 15 pick. And I would not be shocked if he goes even higher. Maybe a team like the Saints, the Raiders, or the Vikings decide to grab him a little earlier than number 12. But number 13, the Indianapolis Colts select Colson Loveland. So the Colts are an interesting team, right? Defense is definitely somewhere they need more draft picks. I understand. However, I think completely building around Anthony Richardson has to be the move. Colson Loveland is an amazing run blocker and a really high upside pass catcher. Last year had 600 yards, 4 touchdowns as a tight end at Michigan. He's the only first-round rated tight end I think I would even put on the board. And him going to the Indianapolis Colts, so he can run block for Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor and also be a really good outlet. That's perfect what the Indianapolis Colts need. Colson Loveland will be a perfect fit in Indianapolis. And he stays in the Midwest. Midwest boy stays in the Midwest. At number 14, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Benjamin Morrison. So, Benjamin Morrison, again, a really good corner out of Notre Dame. The Midwest right now is really killing it when it comes to players. Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame, really good outside corner. Him and Joey Porter could be a really good lethal duo for the future. And they're a couple of years separate in their contract talks. So you can have Joey Porter on a big deal while still having Benjamin Morrison getting a big deal in the future. You traded for Dante Jackson. You traded Deontay Johnson for Dante Jackson. He's kind of washed at this point, and I think he's on like a $13 million a year contract. Bring in Benjamin Morrison, be that true game-breaking corner next to Joey Porter Jr. Have a really good cornerback duo. This division has a lot of good wide receivers and a lot of good wide receiver play. So why not double dip at corner, have Joey Porter Jr. and Benjamin Morrison. And I think he sounds like a Pittsburgh Steeler in my mind. At number 15, the Los Angeles Rams select Michael Williams. So Michael Williams, not the flashiest player as of yet, has had a lot of good reps at Georgia. But Michael Williams, I think this year is really going to shine. Now there's not a whole lot of guys in front of him taking up snaps. Don't be shocked if he goes even higher than 15. But I think if the Rams can re-solidify his defensive line with Michael Williams, you already got Braden Fisk, you got Jared Verse, grab Michael Williams, have a really young defensive line core for the future. Obviously, again, losing Aaron Donald sucks, but I think Michael Williams next year can really help them out. And I'm really excited what Jared Verse and Braden Fisk can do this year. But again, bring in another premier pass rusher to help out this defense, because the back half of the defense is a little rough still. So let's just get Michael Williams, who is definitely the best value pick at number 15, and keep it moving, At number 16, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Nick Scorton from Texas A&M. I've been saying I think the Jaguars need another premier pass rusher. Obviously, Travon Walker has not really worked out yet. He's more of a run stopper than pass rusher. Bring in Nick Scorton, who can be a true dominant pass rusher next to Josh Gaines-Allen, I believe his name is now. But yeah, Josh Gaines-Allen needs someone next to him who can rush the passer. Nick Scorton, I think, is going to be in for another big year. Him or Michael Williams are probably going to be available at 15-16. Whichever one is available, I'll take them. Good pass rusher, good power rusher, solid speed rusher. Definitely more power than speed at this point in his career. But I mean, it's not a bad thing, obviously, because Josh Allen is definitely more speed than power. So get something that complements Josh Allen, but doesn't take away from his ability. At number 17, the Cleveland Browns select Emory Jones, tackle from LSU. So Emory Jones is going to have to play left tackle. Or you move DeJuan Jones over to left tackle, right? So DeJuan Jones played left tackle, I think, for a game or two this past season before he went down with injury, and he was amazing at left tackle. So maybe you grab Emory Jones at 17, you say bye-bye to Wills, Jedrick Wills, and you say, hey, Jedrick, thank you for your time in Cleveland. Bye. And we move over DeJuan Jones to left tackle. You draft Emory Jones to be your right tackle, and you have 2 young bookend tackles. One of them on a fifth round contract price, and now Emory Jones at right tackle. You got your bookends done. You can build that around for the future. 19 to fix in your interior. I think that'd be a great pick for the Browns. They need to be dominant offensive line still. We love to run the ball, but we also have to be really good at passing the ball. Keep Deshaun Watson upright and healthy. And that's what I think Emory Jones can help do. Next, at number 18, the Bears select Harold Perkins, linebacker from LSU. I think Harold Perkins is the best pure stand-up linebacker in this class. As of this point, Harold Perkins would be my only pick at number 18 at stand-up linebacker. The Bears have invested a lot of money at stand-up linebacker. I think if they're going to want to start shedding that money now and getting young prospects to really take up that role. I'm still surprised that their undrafted free agent rookie Sanborn 2 years ago didn't really play last year because he signed a bunch of guys that come in and play for you. I think Harold Perkins can come in, compete immediately for a starting spot, and be something that you build up for the future. Mike or Sam linebacker, I think he'd be a really good job at. Will linebacker, maybe not, but I think Sam or Mike, he could be a really good guy to rely on for the future. At number 19, the Los Angeles Chargers select, oh my gosh, I Googled how to say his name earlier. Now I don't remember. McMillan, for wide receiver from Arizona. He is a 6'6", 215, 225 wide receiver from Arizona. Again, another true dominant outside receiver. Only my second wide receiver taken in this draft so far. Very defense and offensive line heavy draft so far. But McMillan from Arizona right now is probably the second best wide receiver in the class. And I think, a dominant X receiver to put Quentin Johnson back at the Y, and you put maybe you re-sign DJ Shark to be your slot guy. McMillan is a true dominant outside receiver. We've seen it in Arizona. As much as I love Quentin Johnston, if he doesn't show up this year, I think them drafting McMillan is kind of inevitable to bring in another dominant outside receiver. Quentin Johnston then has become your number 2, and you have another guy be your number 3, maybe draft or develop throughout the year. At number 20, the Houston Texans select Deion Walker, interior defensive lineman from Kentucky. He is my, third ranked? Or second ranked? He's in my top 3. I know that. I can't figure it out. Yeah, he's in my top 3 of interior defensive linemen. A really good run stopper, again, with pass rush upside. The Texans' defense does scare me for this team. Offensively, you're good. But the trenches on defense, I have a lot of question marks on still. A lot of older vets that are, just kind of aging. So grab Deion Walker to come in and hopefully start for you or develop into a starter for you. But get that 5th-year option on him. Again, solid run defender, upside as a pass rusher. Deion Walker from Kentucky, I think, would be a great fit for the Houston Texans. At 21, the New York Jets select Jalen Milroe. I'm an idiot, and I forgot to select Jalen Milroe. As you're going to see in a minute, I actually selected DJ from Florida State, who replaces Travis Hunter. As you can see, I meant to select Jalen Milroe. I clicked the wrong name. So Jalen Milroe, quarterback from Alabama, goes to the New York Jets. I think he could be the eventual replacement for Aaron Rodgers, a true dominant quarterback. He's already won the Heisman. A lot of chatter. He might win it again next year if he can repeat his success. Jalen Milroe, big fan of his. I love his dual threat ability, how he's been able to develop as a quarterback over the last few years in college football. I think him going to the New York Jets changes the philosophy of the offense as well when he does eventually take over from Aaron Rodgers. I think it's good. The idea to have Zach Wilson sit underneath Aaron Rodgers was a good idea. But now, actually get someone who's going to sit for a year underneath Aaron Rodgers, learn to be a quarterback in the NFL, and next year would take over as a starting quarterback if Aaron Rodgers does retire, or he just sits. He sits for 2 years then. We saw what it worked out for Jordan Love. So, Jalen Milroe, remember, it goes to the New York Jets. Next, we have Abdul Carter going at number 22 to the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons just traded for Matthew Judon. I think that's a 1-year type of deal for a trade. I think Abdul Carter comes in, is a premier pass rusher for the Falcons. They ranked dead last year in sacks. I think Abdul Carter comes in. Again, this is obviously next year projecting. I think Abdul Carter can come in and be a pretty solid premier pass rusher for them, be a true number one guy off the edge and go for the quarterback. I see him as an 8, 9, 10 sack guy his rookie year. Like, he's a really dominant speed rusher, and I think a lot of teams are going to struggle going up against him. Then from number 23, the Dolphins select Tacario Davis from Arizona. A lot of Arizona guys on this list, trust me. I know, but I actually like Arizona this upcoming season. But Tacario Davis from Arizona, dominant corner on the outside. I think the Miami Dolphins need a dominant corner. They lost Xavier Howard, obviously, in the offseason. Still a free agent, by the way. But trying to replenish that cornerback pool. The defense is really lackluster. You know, you put all this money and draft capital into the offense. Time to put some back in the defense. Grab Tacario Davis to be a true number one corner. Probably won't be an all-pro Pro Bowler for a year or two, but I think he has that ceiling of a top-end corner in the NFL. Then number 24, the Green Bay Packers select Tyler Booker, guard from Alabama. I think interior offensive line play, the Packers really need to get better at. They let a lot of guys walk in free agency. They drafted a lot of guys in the 5th, 6th, 7th that they've been trying to develop. Why not grab a true, bona fide starting guard at number 24 that help Jordan Love stay upright, help this running game with Josh Jacobs get even better? I think that's a smart move for the Packers at 24. At number 25, the Cowboys select Quayshawn Judkins. Quinshon is definitely the number one running back in this class. And the Cowboys, I think they need to become an identity. And I think the run game for the Cowboys has been so, like, when you say the Dallas Cowboys running backs, there's so many good ones, right? I think Quinshon Judkins can be the next one. I think he can really make this offense click. Because I think a poor run game is the reason they haven't really been successful. Why they haven't made any deep playoff runs in a few years. Grab Quinshon Judkins, the number one running back. I think he's a dominant runner, really good downfield, really good at breaking tackles. I'm expecting him to go in the first round. I think the Dallas Cowboys are the team that take him with that offensive line they have. At number 26, the Eagles select Princely Umanmielen from Mississippi. Again, a guy I think can just come in, start day one, be a really good pass rusher, really good run stopper. Brandon Graham is getting older. Fletcher Cox retired. This defense needs to get replenished again. Obviously, they've had a lot of draft capital on the defense the last few years. I think get another one in Princely Umanmielen, and I think he's an exact type of player that the Eagles would go with. At number 27, the Lions select Emeka Egbuka, a wide receiver from Ohio State. I think this is exactly the type of guy they would want. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who can play all over, but is most dominant in the slot. You got a bunch of guys on the outside that are question marks or still developing. Why not grab a true outside-inside threat like Amon-Ra St. Brown, where they're both chess pieces in the pass game? I think I would love Emeka Egbuka as a Lion. I would love him next to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. Just get a bunch of possession receivers and kill teams with these 15, 20-yard completions of guys that just immediately hit the ground. I think that's exactly what the Lions can go for. You got an amazing run game. Get another wide receiver to really complement this offense. Then at number 28, the Cincinnati Bengals select Denzel Burke, cornerback from Ohio State. I said in my video last time when I was predicting the NFL season that I think the Bengals need to get cheaper and younger at corner and in the defense. I think this is the first step to do that. You grab Denzel Burke, keep him in Ohio, a really good outside corner, definitely more of a zone corner with run defending. Not the best man corner in the world, but he's definitely still a first round level corner. And again, replenish this defense. You lost a lot of guys in the cornerback room and in the safety room this offseason. So play one more year, grab a guy in Denzel Burke to be your number one corner, and keep going. At number 29, I think the Buffalo Bills will select Kevin Winston Jr. So let's go to the upcoming season. They have a bunch. They have DeMar Hamlin and is it Jamar Johnson is the two safeties they're scouting as their starters. I don't think it's gonna be the best outcome. I don't think they're both either one really a starting level corner safety in the NFL. I think Kevin Winston can be. I think he has the range, he has the speed. He can be strong safety, free safety. Probably more of a free safety. I love his agility and his speed. I think Kevin Winston, after a year in a combine, he could easily sneak his way into the first round. I think the Bills are the team to take that shot on him. Then at number 30, the Baltimore Ravens select Isaiah Bond, wide receiver from Texas. You got your possession guy in Zay Flowers. Let's grab a true deep threat in Isaiah Bond. Like I said with Texas, They love those deep threat wide receivers. I think Isaiah Bond and Quinn Ewers' stock is going to bloom this year, and they're both going to end up being first-round picks, especially with Adonai Mitchell and Xavier Worthy being drafted last year. I think the NFL is realizing how good Texas wide receivers are becoming. So grab Isaiah Bond. I think he's going to be a really good wide receiver this year. Might even go higher than Emeka Ibuka. Might go higher than Ted McMillan. But I think Isaiah Bond is going to be a true bona fide number one wide receiver in the NFL. And I think the Ravens are a team to take him, a true deep threat with Zay Flowers as their possession guy. Then number 31, the San Francisco 49ers select Xavier Nwankpa. Xavier from Iowa. Yeah, Xavier, I was actually scouting him, what was it, because of Cooper DeJean, maybe? Because Cooper DeJean went to Iowa, right? Am I blanking on that? I need to Google that real quick. I might sound like a dum-dum right here. Because Cooper DeJean went to Iowa. Yeah, okay. Yeah, when I was scouting Cooper DeJean, Xavier was also flashing when I was watching some of those reps. And I looked into him, and they said he was going to be a this year draft pick. I think he's going to end up being a first-round draft pick. He was really good last year. I think he's going to get even better this year. I think, with Cooper DeJean overshadowing him because he's obviously the number one corner on the team, I think Xavier's going to shine as the number one secondary guy on that team this year. And don't be shocked if you hear his name in the first round. Really good rangy guy. I think he'll play more strong safety than free safety. Heavy hitter. Really good run stopper. I like Xavier from Iowa. And at number 32, the Kansas City Chiefs select Kenneth Grant, interior defensive lineman from Michigan. So both Mason and Kenneth do get drafted in the first round. Kenneth Grant, I think, is another really good run stopper with a lot of upside at pass rusher. Not as much as Mason Graham, but definitely still enough to where I think if you got a guy like Chris Jones coaching him up, playing next to him, I think Kenneth Grant is going to learn a lot from him. So this is your eventual Chris Jones replacement in like 3 years. So draft him, develop him, play next to Chris Jones. But by the time Kenneth Grant is up for his second contract, Chris Jones will have retired, and Kenneth Grant will take over that spot as the number one D tackle. But yeah, that's my mock draft. A couple of surprises. I feel like I purposely put those in because obviously the preseason, a lot of guys that you think are going to go higher don't go. Guys that fall out of the first round. Some shocks I feel like are in this draft. I think Denzel Burke going in the first. Princely Umanmielen. I don't know how, I always butcher his name. Princely from Mississippi. Sicario Davis definitely going to Miami is a little high. Jalen Milroe going to 21, I think is a little low. But Nick Scorton going at 16. Got Benjamin Morrison going at 14. Travis Hunter going at 6. Shedeur Sanders being the first quarterback off the board. And Luther Burden going at number 2. Missouri doesn't really get that many, top end wide receivers, so it's a little shocking. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I post next. This year, I'm really excited to finally really sit down and watch college football. I've never really watched college football. I'm more like, once the draft season comes around, I do a lot of film watching and scouting, and that's when I hear a lot of these names. But there's a lot of names in here that I recognize, a lot of names I don't, that I, maybe some, fade away part of my mind. Like Xavier Nwankpa from Iowa. Did not think of his name all year. The minute I saw his name, I go, oh yeah, I watched him when I was watching Cooper DeJean, and I liked him. So yeah. But if you guys enjoy, again, please do like, comment, subscribe. I'll be doing this again probably around Thanksgiving. I'll be doing another mid-season mock draft for the 2025 season. But hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.